Hello guys and welcome to let's call it Michelandia's video maybe, because I have a couple of things to talk about to you, a couple of books to talk about or authors to talk about, but it doesn't have a theme, so I'm just going into it. Also, you may have noticed that I said I was gonna do like 1 or 2 videos per week, but I'm here again because I don't know how people can only do 1 or 2 videos because I read a little bit too much, and I've been back into doing reviews and enjoying it immensely and enjoying like the response and the conversations that it sparks with you guys. Um, and I just have things to say. So instead of trying to have myself a schedule, I'm gonna just, if I have a time and things to speak, I'll do video to videos, and I'll just spam you guys with it. And next time you see me is the next time I have time to do something, because it appears to be the only solution, to be honest. So yeah, it's a little bit erratic, but it is live, and yeah, I think it is okay, right? I have a book that I shouldn't have got, but it was secondhand and it was an amazing price, nothing expensive really. But I did got. I bought it like next week, the previous week, and got to me yesterday, and I basically just been uh purring over it. Like yesterday after work, I just read it, drool over the pages, and all of that. And the book is a Victorian flower album by In Henry Terry, with a foreword by Bridget Boland. So beautiful cover to start with, and this is just a beautiful book, to be honest. This is a book for people that like art, flowers, and the Victorian era, in a way of this is like an artifact from that era, not something. You will see what I mean by an artifact. This book is was made by Henry Terry to his 3 children, and it was not made into a book in Victorian era. It was made into a book like after it, much after it. It was basically for, as I suspect by the size of this, because you guys will see that the drawings fit perfectly this size. It was watercolor sketch pad, because this looks like the size, or maybe even bigger than this, that you could got one of those pads or books. In that era, probably more than a book, a bound book actually. And he spent, let me check, it was the summer of 1973, I think, yes, collecting and painting, drawing and painting the flowers. This is our writer, our artist, and it is just a beautiful book. It has a poem in the beginning and on the end. It has like the parts. It isn't finished, this page, but it's like the part of the plants and flowers. I don't know how well you can see it, but yeah. And then it has like a little dedication part here. It's all handwritten. Then you guys have the forward by Bridget Boland, that is not handwritten because it was a forward. And then it starts the illustrations. And like I said, this was edited much after. I don't know exactly the date. I haven't explored this enough to find the date of the first edition. But basically the family saved this as an heirloom, and then many years later they found it. They saw it was in a good state because they kept it in a good. At first published in 1978, so many years later, almost basically a century later, a little bit more. The family saved this. It was in beautiful stage, and they then did the book, and it does have the illustration of the two girls. This is one of them. I think he had two girls and a boy. Only the girls are here, and then it's just flowers, and you have handwritten annotations under each flower that tells you the Latin name, the common name, if it is perennial or other type of flower or plant, and the months that it blooms, or that it can found, depending if it is a flower or a plant. Let me see if I found a particularly busy page, because they are very pretty. So the whole book is just this. There aren't even like, this is not a big artist and then anything like that, but it's just, oh, here's the other girl. It's a portrait. It is just so, it feels intimate, and it's just so gentle, so adorable. And it has like I don't know how to explain it. It is a great find, and you can, if you do enjoy look at flowers, and maybe you want to learn the names, because this is a good collection of flowers that bloom in the English countryside. If you want to just know names and the time where you can find them and all of that, just, it is a good way to study and decorate those. But just to pour over, this is a beautiful book that I'm really, really excited that I found, and really happy that it's now in my collection. Because as an illustrator, I can see myself coming to this just to get inspiration, and just to get inspiration, basically. Because it is one thing to look at the flowers, like the specimen, and then you do your drawing. It is another thing to do when working, looking at a representation made by another artist. It is another level. You are not looking at the plant itself, you are looking at a plant through the eyes of another person. So there is an extra layer of awesomeness there. Plus, depending on your skills, the level of your skills, I think people say that it depends on the level of your skills, but I think that if you critically look at a piece of art and have, of course, a little bit of knowledge of how you can achieve certain colors, certain hues, and like the medium used and all of that, you can understand how it was made. In this particular book, it was pencils for the lines, and then it was watercolors and some white china inks, because the pages weren't white, so it couldn't use the whiteness of the page to do the highlights, so it had to get an ink to do the highlight. And you can see that it's like heavily layered, and I mean, you also have that explained, a little bit of it explained on the forward. It has like an explanation of the medium used, and then when you look at it, it makes sense. So yeah, that's I've been babbling about flowers and thing for too long now. So yeah, amazing book. If you can get it, get it. Please do not get it just for a scrapbook, because it is just a beautiful book to pour over and just clean your eyes a little bit. Another thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about, it's about Virginia Woolf. Now, I had a complicated relationship with Virginia Woolf writing. I think it was Mrs. Dalloway, yes. It was the first one that I read like 2-3 years ago. And I read the translation, and I'm not sure if that was a good idea to start with, because there's lots of differences between the intonation in the Portuguese, where Portuguese speaking and the English speaking. Portuguese is a much more complex language, and English has a lot less words, for example. So I think that was part of the problem, but I haven't leveled up as much in my reading. So I felt that it was too much for me at the time. I think that at the time I did, I don't think it's on my Goodreads because I didn't saw it, but I think that at the time I wrote something like, I didn't dislike it, but I felt that I didn't understood or take everything out of it that I needed, if that makes sense, or that I should have, not that I need, that I should have taken out of it. And yeah, that was that. I put that aside, and then last year I tried to read a room of one's own, and it was the timing, because I wasn't in a good place, many of us weren't, and I needed escapism. I didn't need something as serious, and like, I just didn't need that, so I DNF'd it back then. But the thing is, I keep hearing people talking about Virginia Woolf and about how good her writing is, and some people do like the nonfiction better than the fiction, and I can understand it. I'm starting slowly but surely convert myself to nonfiction because I have been finding the most amazing pearls in nonfiction. I still love fiction, and I will never stop reading it, but I'm being converted to nonfiction. I'm getting more and more of it. Like, I search for it. So yeah, I've been reading a lot this year, and to be honest, I felt that I have leveled up because it's the easiest way. If you read after you pass a certain, how do I say that? Well, reading it is a muscle, and the more you read, the better for you, and the more your comprehension, your speed increases. And this year has been a little bit crazy in a good sense for reading, and I felt like I felt no, I feel like I leveled up a lot. I feel like I learned a lot about myself, my tastes, and I think my um, my English vocabulary is much more expensive than it was. Expensive. It's bigger. It might not sound like it. Oh, my voice. I'm sorry. I think it's good. Are we good? Yeah, sound good. It might not sound like my vocabulary is that big talking, because I do need to talk more in English to get that fluency and that speed, because I do think a lot faster than I speak in English, because this is not my normal speaking velocity, let's say it like that. And I'm speaking in Portuguese, I go like double the speed. We're Portuguese people, we talk a lot, we have a lot to say, and our words are a little bit on the complex side sometimes, so we have to speed it up so we can go real fast when we are talking. And me talking in English, I talk like half the speed that I can talk in Portuguese usually. So yeah, I'm still adapting. But anyway, this is completely different topic. Where am I going? I felt like it was time to tackle Virginia Woolf again. Now, she is not difficult to read in English. You can understand her pretty well. A problem for me that I was finding, because I tried again A Room of One's Own. The problem for me that I was finding wasn't like the sentence rhythm, because it is a little bit different than the usual rhythm of like English. She puts things there that usually it's not there. It feels a little bit different in rhythm. I'm not sure if that's exactly true, but it felt like it. It really felt like it. So what I did was I used an audiobook because it's on LibriVox. I know that you can listen to it free. I did use YouTube, but I think it's on LibriVox too. Not completely sure about that, but yeah. Um, and I used the audiobook to not listen to everything, but to listen parts of it when I felt like I listened a little bit in the beginning and tried to read it, and if I felt that I was losing the rhythm again, I found my place on the audiobook, listened a little bit, and kind of went with it. And after like 20 minutes, I felt like I had the rhythm pretty well, and I could read it well enough, and things started to make sense because I really enjoyed that reading. And I then forgot to mention that before this, what made me pick it up again, besides me wanting to, was talking with a friend, and she told me to read The Haunted House because it's a very small thing. And I read it, and then reread it, and then think about why I read it, and then listened to people reading it, and I was just like, this is good. I want more. So then I went to the Room of Unzon. And then when I finished that one, I was pretty happy and I wanted more. So I went to the only place you go when you do those things, and I went to my library. No, I don't want to read Virginia Woolf in Portuguese again, because that first experience, it was that good, and I'm trying to read as much of like at least the older books in uh, the English speaking world. I'm trying to read them in English to better my comprehension, and just to better the way I'm reading them. So I went to the English part, and I was lucky because they didn't have fiction, but they have a collection of essays with this awful picture on the cover. I mean, I really hate it. I really I really hate some of the art that it's done during this period. I mean, if you like it, kudos to you. More power to you. Enjoy it. Me myself, I'm a little bit more on the classic side of things. A little bit more on the people not looking like they were supposed to be dead, because this is just wrong. This picture is just wrong. But this is a collection of his essays that has The Room of Unzon. I have already read. I did, to be honest, I did skim it again because there's parts of it that I really like, and I am going into the other essays in here, and there are quite a lot of essays, and this also has more art. I mean, amazing art. Look at that perspective, the details. I mean, there's some art after a certain period I cannot with the art. But anyway, this is not about the art. This is about Virginia Woolf. So there was a conversation that on my Goodreads with some people, and I have a thing that I need to ask you guys, because I had that conversation sparked the idea of reading something from Virginia Woolf every month, at least. It started saying a year of Virginia Woolf. This is what one of the girls said this jokingly, and I was like, well, for a while we can just grab a little bit of Virginia Woolf's work and talk about it. Does anybody want to do that? Because I'm up for it. I mean, I'm not an expert. I just give you my repertoire with her, but I'm totally into just grabbing a bunch of people that want to try it. I can make a little bit of a introduction for a certain piece every month, and give my point of view and ask you guys your point of view, and then we do a little conversation about it. That we can either do it here or on my Goodreads, depending on what you guys prefer. Maybe I can even do it on both sides, to be honest, but I would like to do it and start with nonfiction, because I'm really enjoying her nonfiction. And I tried to, I picked on Miss Dalloway, for example, and I enjoyed it. I read it like the first pages of it, and I enjoyed it more, but I have a feel that I'm gonna enjoy her nonfiction more. But anyway, we shall do a mix of nonfiction and fiction, but maybe starting with one of the essays. I'm gonna read this this month because I have to give it to the library. I was thinking of reading this. I don't want to start with A Room of One's Own. I mean, maybe we don't even pick up on that one because everyone and their mother know that one. I'm gonna see if there's one here that we can use. Take some notes and then one or two, and then let you guys choose. Yeah, I picked like 3 essays over from here, and then we do it. Let me know. Okay, we shall start with an essay. I'll give you a choice of 3 or 4, 2 or 3, depending on how many I find that I think we can easily read together and have a conversation about, and we go from there. Maybe we can talk here and on my Goodreads. How about that? Let me know. This video is already too long, so yeah, I'm gonna say bye guys, and that's all for now. Leave your comments, let me know if you want to do this, and yeah, bye guys.